Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew, and today I want to talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for a minute. So I'm about 5, almost 6 hours into the game. Did a couple live streams, put out a video of my first hour. Did the live stream using the PSVR 2 headset as the screen. So I want to talk about all that today, just in my 6-hour experience. And this will probably be the last video on Final Fantasy VII Remake that I make until I'm done with the game. I do kind of plan to play that, throughout the weekend and possibly through the week next week. I've decided to just slow down and take my time. I want to do some exploring. I really want to get into this game and really see what Square Enix has brought, because there was a lot of talking from the developer, about all the handcrafted side content that they put into this game, trying to make everything feel original, everything feel different. So I want to experience the most of this game that I can. While being able to run around in there, because at the end of the month, man, we've got Dragon's Dogma 2, I've got Horizon Zero or Forbidden West again, I've got I've got Alone in the Dark that I want to cover, as well as, gosh dang it, I know there was another one. There's another one that's coming out. Oh, and freaking Rise of the Ronin, man. So that's 4. That's at least 3 more open world games, along with, Alone in the Dark, that's going to be like, man, I'm such a big Alone in the Dark fan. I love Alone in the Dark. I love Resident Evil. I love games like that. I love playing them. So it's kind of cool, man. That's just a lot of stuff. And all of those games are literally coming out within like a day of each other. Like pretty much all of them at the same time. So it's going to be pretty confusing. I got most of that already pre-ordered and ready to go. So Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and what this game means to me is, I struggled back in the day with Final Fantasy VII when it first came out on the PlayStation 1. I was into it, but I was just coming around to the whole turn-based thing. I was unable to beat the game back then. I just couldn't stay committed to that. The first Final Fantasy that I ever beat was Final Fantasy 8, then I beat 9, and that's when it started clicking with me. Like the whole Final Fantasy thing started clicking like really big with me. I did try them back before when they were on like Super Nintendo and stuff, but it never really clicked with me until about Final Fantasy 8, and then I was like, yeah, this is pretty freaking cool. And then last year's Final Fantasy 16 knocked it out of the freaking park for me. I love that game more than any Final Fantasy game I've ever played in my life. Final Fantasy 16 with the Devil May Cry / Castlevania, the whole feel and atmosphere to that game absolutely knocked it out of the park for me. I will buy that game again day one when it comes to PC. I'm literally looking forward to playing through that game with maximum settings, with the highest graphical fidelity, at the highest frame rate I can get. Like, Final Fantasy 16 is by far my favorite in the series. And that's where we get over to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, this game is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. It feels closer combat wise to what we were getting out of 16, but at the same time it still retains that Final Fantasy VII Remake where you can get in there and also do like abilities and stuff, more of like a, hit the button, choose the thing, it slows down or it stops the thing and lets you do that. So there is a little bit more, instead of just all-out action like you had with, different button combos for Final Fantasy 16, you still get to get in there and do like a little bit of strategic thinking and stuff when it comes to like healing yourself and, all of the, and using like your specials and your limit breaks and all of those things. So Final Fantasy 7 is definitely just a little bit different. It still kind of retains some of that Final Fantasy 7 thing, but it's kind of interesting. Like, I just barely made it to chapter 4. I'm just barely at chapter 4. I did the live stream last night using the PSVR 2 headset. And if you have one, I highly suggest that you utilize your PSVR 2 headset for that. I have different options. See, I've got my 1440p monitor that it looks pretty dang good on. I like the way it looks on that. And that's just an IPS display, so you kind of get that a little bit washed out look due to the way that they do like some of the fog effects and some of that other stuff a little bit, like the brighter corridors and things like that can kind of look a little bit washed out on the 1440p monitor. And then I also have, like either a Vizio H1 OLED or the LGC2 OLED that I can utilize the upscaler in that. And if you watch Digital Foundry's newest video, they even said, that like, look, this is an option. It might not be the absolute best option depending on your screen, but I know some of them other TVs, them lower end TVs actually do have pretty decent upscalers. They basically just make the game look like a water painting, which looks incredible, like in its own right. When you're sitting back, like it still looks like the regular game, but like if you get close, look right up close at it, it looks like a water painting. But you are going to have to set your PS5 to either 1080p or 1440p mode, whatever signal your TV will accept. Some of them will do the 1440p, some of them will do the 1080p. There's actually TVs out there that will do the 1080p at 120 frames a second that don't have support for HDMI 2.1. So there's a lot of features that your specific TV might actually have, and it might enhance the overall image quality for you in a way that you wouldn't think that just your TV could do. The biggest reason for that is if you have your PS5 either set to 2160p or auto, that there isn't like an auto. It's going to shift down to like the resolution of the game. That'll shift it. That just says, okay, so you're hooked to a 4K TV, automatically hooked to a 4K TV. If you're hooked to a 1440p monitor, it will automatically hook to a 1440p monitor. That's all that means, that you have to get in there and physically select the resolution that you want your TV to upscale from. Obviously, going from 1440p to 4K, it's going to look a little bit better. Going from 1080p to 4K, you're going to get, some stuff that's not going to, translate too well. The higher the resolution you can go, the better. But according to Digital Foundry's video, them doing all the pixel count and stuff, you're looking at about 1196p for the performance mode. So my hard recommendation for that is 1080p. If you're upscaling from a 4K or if you're upscaling on a 4K TV, set your PS5 to 1080p and then let it upscale to 4K. You will get decent overall image quality out of that. But it did look it did look slightly better with 1440p. Actually, it looked a lot better, but depending on your TV, you might not have the 1440p option. So yes, hard recommend for 1080p. That's going to do a pretty dang good job at upscaling depending on your TV. So I would definitely look into that. And I know, guys, like I get it, man. I've got a PS5, I got a Series X. I bought into the whole 4K TV thing too at the beginning of this generation. Actually, I was an early supporter of 4K when they came out. I still had PS4 and Xbox 3 and Xbox One. So, and this is how I found out about the upscaling technique. This is how I found out about it, because I had both of those consoles set up on my new 4K TV, and when I would get close and look at the image quality, I could see like the water painting on that Philips TV, and it was awesome. It looked absolutely beautiful. And I was playing games like Horizon Forbidden West or Horizon Zero Dawn. I was playing games like Steep, For Honor, just all the games that came out that year. I just was playing all of them. And then we got the PS4 Pro, which I picked up the PS4 Pro, and once I hooked that into it and I had it set on 4K, the water painting look went away. Like it was gone. It just, looked, furry, fuzzy, blurry, all of that stuff. And I still didn't even realize it back then. Like it wasn't even until pretty recently that I remembered. I was like, oh yeah. And I figured it back out on the Series S, because I set the Series S to 1080p mode and had it on, my 4K screens, and it upscaled just like it used to. And some of these higher end, OLED TVs are going to do a really good job. Like I was playing just the other day, I had Drive Club hooked up on my LG C2, and I'm playing that at 1080p mode on the PS5, and oh my gosh, it just looks so good. It was so clean, no jaggies, no freaking, none of that, no blur, nothing. It just looked very, very nice. And it does the same on the Vizio H1 OLED. So yes, the higher quality the TV, the much better features that you're going to get. Like with your LG C2 and your Vizio H1 OLED, you have actual settings in there that you can play around with your upscaler. You can make it a lot sharper, you can make it less sharp. On some of them lower end TVs, all you're going to do is the TV's just going to upscale it, and then all you're going to have the ability to do is play around with your sharpness. And like color, obviously you'll be able to like play around with your colors and stuff, but you're going to get a lot more fine tuning on like your higher end OLED TVs than you are on your basic, like TCLs or something like that are just going to have an upscaler in them, and they're just going to upscale it. And then you'll have you'll be able to adjust the sharpness and stuff like that. The funny thing is the higher you go with your sharpness, the more pixelated it's going to look. So I recommend at most 20 to 25% on your sharpness. Don't really go over that, because then you start getting into pixelated territory where it starts to look really grainy, really pixelated. And it distorts like the distant features and stuff, and it makes clouds look like they're freaking screen door effect, all of that. So yeah, just try to avoid that. Try to only bump up your sharpness to a point where like you're okay with how the image quality looks. If you start going past that, then it's diminishing returns and it actually starts to look worse. So just make sure you take that kind of stuff into consideration. Next, I want to move over to the PSVR 2, man. The PSVR 2, using the cinematic screen, you have up to a 226-inch display, dropping all the way down to like a 55-inch display. You've got that adjustability that you can play with, and that's really good. You've got pitch black, like inky black freaking borders, so you just get to see that screen. I do recommend sitting in a place that's going to be comfortable for you. It's going to have a little bit of head support. I was basically live streaming last night. I was laying on my bed. I got one of them like hospital type beds, a king size bed that the feet adjust and the back adjust, and I'm just sitting in there like a little baby with my feet all propped up, and just kind of laying back, basically looking at the ceiling, playing and stuff. Very, very comfortable, very fun. I was able to sit there for a couple hours. Wasn't having any issues with like the headset feeling uncomfortable or anything like that. Absolutely incredible. Now that is going to knock you down to a 1080p resolution, but you still get the benefits of OLED. With the HDR support and all of that, like you're gonna have fun. If there's no latency or anything like that, it really just feels like you're playing on a native TV. But it's almost kind of like, with the lenses that you got on your PSVR 2, it's almost like you're looking through a window to look at an OLED screen. So it does kind of diminish that a little bit, but not enough to where it was a bad experience by any means. And to tell you the truth, I kind of do favor that just a little bit more than my 1440p monitor, because like I said, on the monitor you're getting that frosty look with the with the fog effects and stuff like that, or like the super bright corridors and stuff like that. Whereas on the monitor or on the PSVR 2, it actually looks significantly better. And gives you a better overall image quality on that, because it's running at 1080p native screen, so you're getting that 1080p that 1080p look. You can even switch it over to the 4K mode, but I highly suggest starting that in the 4K mode so that you don't get like so that it's not like when you get in there and you're like, you go from 60 to 30, that is very jarring, and you're gonna see the stutter, and you're gonna because it's still an OLED, you're still gonna get that stutter in that panel and stuff. So I do highly recommend that. But the last option is the 1440p monitor. Obviously, if you've got an OLED 1440p monitor, it's going to look incredible. If you got an IPS monitor or AV, your mileage is going to vary. Obviously, you're still going to have that, but overall, like, image quality does look pretty sharp, pretty clean on a 1440p monitor. It actually did not look that bad at all. But I do kind of prefer the headset, just because, like I was saying, you got that little bit extra bit of clarity due to the fact that you're not getting that frosty look or that blown out, color dynamic on from the monitor and stuff. So, I mean, maybe I could turn down my brightness a little bit on my monitor and kind of maybe fix that. I haven't really tried that yet because that's the first game that that I've had this kind of issue with. But overall, guys, let me talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for a minute. Like I'm pretty much 6 hours into this game. I played the demo for a little while, so obviously going through the game, you're going to be retreading, pretty much the stuff that you treaded already in the demo. I am to the part now where the demo, to Janoon or whatever, where the where the demo kind of pretty much, like the last area where the demo kind of let you off, and for my experience so far, like going through fighting some of the bosses, I just had to fight a boss with Barrett, and that kind of sucked, man. Like I'm not even gonna lie, that boss fight was kind of annoying, but like the overall camaraderie of the characters in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the way they talk to each other, the things, the story, how the story flows, how the characters interact with each other. How the world looks and how that adds to the story and the overall experience. I think Square Enix did a very good job with this, and it seems pretty ambitious. Like I don't feel like they skimped out on quality, like really at all. And there was some stuff in like the demo, like when you're running by like a rock wall or something like that. And I'm looking at things and I'm taking my time and I'm stepping back and I'm looking at the overall experience that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth has to offer, and I'm just blown away with just how good that the overall experience, like when you combine everything together and everything flows together, it really there's so much good that completely outweighs the whole, obviously there's no way to say, I mean, there's no nice way to say it. Like image quality on this game can be pretty rough in certain spots, and by the time I kind of feel like by the time you get to that experience, it really, like, I feel like there's enough good in this game to really outweigh that and to really help you have a good experience with this game. Like I don't know, man. Like I was a bit leery about it at first. I was just gonna wait for the PC version, but my gosh, man. Like I want to be there. I want to support PlayStation, but at the same time, I don't like these practices that they do. I don't like the fact that they hold this game away from, like Xbox players or, making people on PC wait to be able to experience this. I think everybody should have the opportunity or the ability to pick this game up on whatever platform they want and enjoy that. And I feel like these bigger games like Final Fantasy VII, man, this game came out back in what, like 1997 or 1996 or something like that, and I mean maybe even a little sooner than that. No, I think it was 96, 97. I don't remember exactly, but this game has at least, what, like is that 20, 30 years or something, that there's a lot of people out there, almost 30 years actually, but there's a lot of people out there that have played this game and that they've experienced that, and some of them have moved on to Xbox, some of them have moved on to PC. It just doesn't make sense for Square Enix to lock a franchise like Final Fantasy to the PlayStation. It just doesn't make any sense, man. In like a sense, in this world today where these games are costing a lot more money to make, they're taking longer to build, it just doesn't make any sense for them to not want to be able to sell this game to whoever wants to buy it wherever they want to play. To me, that doesn't make any sense. And I would ask Square Enix, man, honestly, guys, reconsider what you guys are doing to like your franchises like Final Fantasy. Like, I feel that like that you need to fully support these games, and you need to open them up to the widest market possible so that they can be successful, because I want more of them, and I know the people that love these games want more of them, and we want more options. Like me personally, I would love to have played this on a PC with maxing out the settings and really really, getting the ultimate experience that I can get with a game like this. And these games aren't cheap anymore. They're $70. They're $70. And when like your only option is PS5 and you have to either have a really expensive TV, or you have to buy a monitor or a PSVR headset just to mitigate some of the fallout from the overall visual quality due to the lack of hardware, that the PlayStation 5 has. And I've heard this argument a few times from the people. It's like, yeah, man, the PlayStation games look well. Square Enix doesn't have that sweet Call of Duty money to fund, to sit there and like take forever to build these games out like PlayStation can, and that really sucks, and it really does kind of hurt the whole overall PlayStation ecosystem more than a lot of people would like to imagine, because there are people out there that are going to skip this game due to the fact that the image quality is just not where they want it. And I don't blame them. I was ready to do that too, but man, I've got access to a high quality 1080p OLED, a 1440p monitor, or high end freaking OLED TVs that I can mitigate some of that visual quality and really take advantage of what I have right now. And a lot of people don't have that option, man. A lot of people either have the option to just play on their 4K TV or whatever they have, and that sucks, man. That really sucks that when a game like this comes out. And I know that visuals aren't everything, but visuals are pretty dang important, especially for a game like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This game is a cult classic, man. There's so many people out there that love this game and this experience and these characters, and I just, I want them to be able to have the ultimate best overall experience they can. And I'm not saying that it's not possible to play this game at 30 frames a second on a 4K screen. Like, you can do that, obviously, but it is a little bit jarring to play that on a 4K OLED. I mean, you could probably get away with it on a LCD screen, and that's fine. A lot of people do have those. The market's pretty big for like the TCLs and the Vizios and the like the Hisense TVs and stuff like that. So there are those budget TVs out there that you can still get a pretty decent experience of this on. But yeah, this is an interesting game, man. This game's got me a little bit like, oh my goodness, man. Like I'm feeling it. I'm feeling this game a lot. I'm really liking this, and I want more people to buy and support this game. So that we can get more of them, so that Square Enix can have the money to fund these projects and stuff, because it is getting expensive, and I hate seeing multiple developers, getting hit with layoffs or studios closing down or everything that's been happening. And yes, a lot of this they brought on themselves, putting all the stuff that they put in these games nowadays that nobody cares about. Like, I get it, man. I get it. Like, I'm right there with you guys, but sometimes it's easy to kind of just look past some of that stuff. Sometimes it's so in your face, like Banishers, that it's like, dude, this game is cringe. It completely broke the immersion for me. But most of the time, like Suicide Squad, it was like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes it's like in your face so much that it's like, no, I can't do that. But then sometimes it's like, it's pretty benign that you don't even really think about it too much. Like, there's so many other things to do that you can literally avoid the nonsense, and that's cool. But Final Fantasy so far seems pretty dang good. Like, it's not exhibiting any of that behavior to a point that's like in your face. But I'm not going to say that there's nothing in there, because obviously this is the new age and people feel like they need to be more on the activist side than just sitting here and entertaining us, which is kind of weird. Like, I find that kind of weird. It's like, you want your stuff to do good, but you literally shoot yourself in the foot just to make a point or to try to create some like teachable moment or something, and it just backfires. And yeah, dude, nobody wants that preachy stuff in their video games. I mean, nobody buys that kind of stuff. Well, they don't. I mean, or at least, if they do get, bait and switched into something like that, they usually do, start to get a little bit more cautious next time with the next experience. So just because one experience is good and everybody bought it, doesn't mean every single one of them going forward are going to do that same thing due to whatever they put in there. So I personally like and recommend Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like I said, I've only got about 6 hours into it, but that is already yeah, I can already tell that I could have spent more time in that first section. You know, I could have spent a lot more time in that first section. You know, just when in the, like after you leave the little town, the castle town, I could have spent more time there having fun and, you know, looking around, searching things, you know, like going through the swamp, stuff like that. So, yeah, I want to just kind of slow down and take my time with this. You know, I've got other content that I'm going to be putting out throughout the rest of the day, you know, like some benchmark videos, stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm just going to take my time with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm going to play it in between when I have some time, you know, give myself a little bit of time after each play session to really ponder and think about what happened during that, because this is one of those games that is going to have a long lasting effect for years to come. Like, people are going to look back at this game and think, "Gosh, dang man, that's a good remake. That's how we do remakes." And I want this to be successful, because honestly, I do want more remakes from some of them older games on like PS1 and PS2, the original Xbox. You know, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation. There are so many games and so many good stories that I would love to see come back with a modern overall gameplay, like expand on it, build it out, make it bigger, make it better, and like really, you know, flesh out some of them stories for a lot of those games. So I support these and I want more of these. And I hope that this game can be successful. So, all right, my friends, if you guys like this content, do not forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.